Hey, welcome to the best show. My name's Tom Scharpling. I'm the host of the show, and today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to pay tribute to our friend Lynn Shelton, who passed away over the weekend. She died of a blood disease, and it's just the most heartbreaking thing imaginable. Lynn was just one of the greatest people. What a nice soul. So talented, so amazing. Her movies are so good. And she was somebody who I was lucky enough to get to become friends with, and we really got along so well. One of the nicest people, just lit up the room when she came in, and so positive, so smart and talented, and just amazing. I, in addition to being friends with her, and, cause she was a couple with Marc Maron, who they were partners and just did everything together. And, she directed a couple of his stand-up specials and did this movie called Sword of Trust, which is a great movie. And I got to do a Q&A with the two of them last summer when the movie was playing in New York, and that was great. And, after that, I just started to really get to know Lynn, and we started working together, which was, a great thing. There's a show that I was working on, and then Lynn, there was the opportunity was just like, who should direct this? And it's just like, I just said, oh my God, if Lynn Shelton would do this, it'd be the greatest thing ever. And she came on and liked the material, and you could just see how she just elevated everything. Just the smartest person. She also just outworked everybody. Oh my God, just brilliant. And just made everybody feel good while she was doing it. And you just felt elevated being around her in a work environment or in a personal setting. Just one of those people, truly the best. And she was somebody who, I don't know, it's one of those things where I truly looked up to her, and she was an inspiration to me, and I just wanted to just know everything she knew, because she was so smart. And I was lucky enough to get to work with her and see her in action, and just always blown away by the quality of the person and the quality of the talent, and got to spend some good times with her, eating dinners and we went to the Comedy Store and saw her, we went to the Comedy Store and saw Mark perform, and she was just, she was doubled over with just laughter, just the most fun. And he was talking about the two of them on stage, and with so much love and just so much reverence, and he was just constantly impressed. Also, just like you could just tell how much they love each other. And she was just, seeing her just doubled over laughing, such a great laugher, such a great spirit, and so much love. It's just heartbreaking that a force of nature like this would not be here anymore. I just legitimately idolized her, and just seeing somebody get better and better as they get older, which is not the way things go. And she was just so ready for her next chapter, and seeing her start that next chapter and having it cut short, just a total tragedy. And I'm just so lucky to have known her for the time I got to know her, and spend the time at work with her and watch her be great in so many different ways. And it is just a gift. And my heart just goes out to Mark and to her family and her son. And oh my God, it's just heartbreaking. And I can only say I'm as much of a tragedy and a crime it is that she's gone. It's also, I am so grateful and will forever be grateful for the amount of time I got to spend with her, and what that meant to me and will continue to mean to me. And I just, I will forever be grateful for what Lynn Shelton meant to me and did for me. And she will be missed. And I just say a prayer or send a thought. I know those are cliches, but they're true, because one of the truly good people is not here anymore, and it's sad. So, rest in peace, Lynn Shelton. And here's a conversation I did with Lynn and Marc Maron at the start of the quarantine. I safely distanced and threw a mic cord out my car window and talked to them both. And I had planned to talk to Lynn in depth more, because I really just wanted to know everything. Like I said, she really was the kind of person who had so much to share and was just such an amazing director, and had the ability to do something not a lot of directors can do, which is just move from form to form to form, whether she was doing her own movies, or she was directing a television show, or she was doing a stand-up special. She could do what she wanted to do, and she did it, and the work will stand. And even more than the work, the mark she made on the people that knew her will stand. And yeah, it's a tragedy, and we're all heartbroken. So rest in peace. And check out this interview with Lynn Shelton and Marc Maron that I did. Thanks, and we'll do a show next week. I'm at the home of Marc Maron. Here he comes. He's got a mic. There he is. There's the cord right there. Don't get any closer. I'm good.
Do you wipe down the cord?
Oh, the cord's been wiped down. The cord's been sterilized. There we go.
This is not a high-end cable.
Well, it's the best we could
You're
get
not
in a
recording.
pandemic.
You've been recording already.
It's the best we could get in a pandemic. What's it like to have somebody start recording before you're ready?
Yeah, I was ready.
No, that's what you do when you do the show.
You weren't recording already?
Oh, no, I was.
Oh.
I got that out of your playbook.
Do you want me to go further away? You got a lot of cable.
You go as far as it's 25 feet.
25 feet, I could probably go do it from the garage.
Go. You can back it up.
So,
how are you going to hear him if you do that? You need cans or
That's
something.
well.
you want me to get her a mic too? How many cables you got? Just
can do
one?
I can do a third. No, I only have one cable.
One cable?
We take right. So
no
we have,
splitter?
I don't
Let's
have a
go
splitter.
one-on-one.
Sorry.
You all right, buddy?
I am. How
Have
are
you
you?
had any symptoms?
No, I feel good.
You do?
Yeah.
Have you been indoors the whole time?
Pretty much, yeah.
Really?
Went to the
He's wearing his
bank.
protective raspberry colored shirt.
I went to the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, got some
Did
cash.
you wear gloves?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I have these. I just keep washing my hands. My hands are like a 90-year-old person's hands now. They're falling apart. They're all cracked.
Scharpling, you can turn your engine off.
That's true.
You want to know what I did yesterday? I washed my hands while wearing rubber gloves.
Now that's a true.
I did it. I did it.
Yeah.
Because I went to I was down at NPR in Culver City doing. Terry Gross actually recorded her first show ever from home. But
Okay.
They made me drive to Culver City.
They
So
made,
yeah. So, because I don't have an ISDN line. So I had rubber gloves on the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in and I touched everything.
Yeah.
And then I realized, like, I'm about to touch myself in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Just to go to the bathroom.
Sure. Yeah.
So I washed my hands in the rubber gloves before I peed.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I went about my day.
Yeah.
No, so I didn't get anything on me.
That's
too much information.
No. It's probably the proper amount of information now. This is none of us have been here before.
Are tips.
We've not been here before. What are we?
Do you want to know other things I've been doing?
Sure. What else?
Don't microwave gloves. I learned that lesson.
Okay.
I had some. I'll give her the mic in a minute. I have some gloves that had the little thing that allows you to use your phone with wool gloves.
Yeah.
Because I was wearing the wool gloves that had that.
Okay.
And I figured I better sterilize them, put it in the microwave. Mm-hmm. Those parts caught on fire.
Okay.
The parts that you can touch the phone with. Fire. Like smoke fire.
But you're supposed to, like, how do you clean, like, plastic gloves? Like kitchen gloves?
With soap. That's what I think the original intention was to wash things with. So they're always soap. I think you can actually recycle the rubber gloves, because we only have one box of rubber gloves that Lynn had.
Oh, you can't say what you've got. That's bad. That's bad. You can't say what you've got. It's going to be like Mad Max. People are going to be just like, I heard Mark's got a box of rubber gloves.
One box. I go to Fish King, and they have those kind that are more like plastic bags that you just do per weighing out fish.
Yeah.
It's taken everything I've got not to offer them like $100 for a box. Or just take them, but they have cameras.
Yeah.
So, is this going to be part of the best show?
Yeah, this is the best show now. This is what I've been.
No phoners?
I got no phone.
Oh.
I got to have a phone for a phoner.
A lot of people around here are like, that guy's clearly not home with that car.
No. It is,
Me and Dave Anthony took a hike today, and it was there was a few people out, not as many. These people walking down the street right now, they're not 6 feet apart at all. How do you know they live together? Oh, they're kids. Hi. How are you? She did not even really question the microphone from the car.
I guess maybe if they know you, they just assume, he's probably always has a mic. That's what he does.
I don't know if they know me. Do you want to talk on the microphone?
It's the guy with the mic.
I'm going to introduce Lynn Shelton, the director of the currently streaming Little Fires Everywhere. She directed 4 episodes of that, and also she's an executive producer on that project. You might know her from her films, My Sister's Sister, Your Sister's Sister,
Your
Hump
Sister's
Day, Sort of Trust,
Laggies,
very popular.
Inside Out,
very good.
Outside In.
Outside In. You're thinking about your belly button.
I was thinking, yes, you got me.
Have you been watching Todd Barry's weird videos with his cat?
Yeah,
it's so
cute.
It's the best thing I've ever seen.
It's like a new Todd Barry.
I know.
In a
I don't
way.
know what's going on.
It's like you never thought if anybody was going to get like softer, I never thought it would have been him.
All it took was a cat.
He got a cat, and
it.
he immediately just the dam broke
all over. It's just like it's all over for that guy. Anyways, please welcome Lynn Shelton to the mic.
How are you, Lynn?
I'm under new management now. Mark is my manager. I've noticed this in general, that people seem to be just being completely emotionally dependent. All their entire emotional life seems to now center on a pet. Whatever pet they have, it's all about the pet.
Yeah,
you know,
it's all in.
That's where they find
slide
all
your
comfort. I think it's just because they're so deliciously oblivious.
Yeah.
Obviously always, but in this particular time of anxiety and stress, they
you look at them,
go on with their lives, and you can kind of project yourself into the. Oh yeah, maybe I could just lay in the sun.
I'm still yelling at my cats. I have not changed my attitude or interaction with the cats. Lester's still an asshole. Monkey's hanging on. He's doing okay, but I'm completely prepared for his passing. But he's gotten very, needy and lovable in his old age, much like his owner.
Now you directed Mark's special that's out, that came out last
two.
week.
It's a good time to watch the other one too, but yes, it's a particularly good time to watch End Times Fun.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad. At first I was angry at Netflix for making us change the name. It used to be called Jeremiad. Look that up.
Yeah.
Expand your vocabulary.
Okay.
Which was their problem with it. I was like, no, I'm holding this line. We're going to call it Jeremiad.
Yeah.
And Robbie Pra, the comedy guy at Netflix, is like, we're not calling it that. And I'm like, why? That's what it is. And he's like, no one's going to know what that is.
Well,
and it's going to come up on the menu, and people are going to be like, what does that even mean?
Look, I know what Jeremiad means, but
Yeah,
for
me too.
for the dumb people in the audience that don't. Look,
I don't think
know.
even
I don't
smart
know
people know what it is. They're like, what is that kind of?
I don't know what it means. I was just trying to.
Go look it up. You look it up right now.
It's like a angry screed, a rant.
Okay.
Yeah,
A lament, a woes me kind
Okay.
of, but maybe that isn't funny. Maybe he was right. I think he was right. I took his advice and I impulsively said, well, it's just because he's like, it has to have, they have to know it's a comedy special.
Yeah.
And I just thought, okay, let's just go what it is, End Times Fun. It's
Sure.
End Times Fun.
Yeah.
And that's the amazing story behind that, Tom.
Isn't it?
We also, this is how we realized that Michelle Wolf is how she named her show too, because she got the exact same note. Clearly, she just called it The Joke Show.
Yeah.
How's that,
Fine.
Netflix?
Yeah,
Because she probably had some creative
Yeah,
name too.
that seems like somebody throwing their hands up in
Exactly.
exasperated, like fine.
But it turned out that End Times Fun was exactly the right freaking name. It's unbelievable. I think it's got way more eyeballs on it, way more ink than it would have had otherwise. I mean, it's just amazing. It's just perfect.
Not to mention that there's a pandemic.
Yeah.
And that everything stopped.
Well, there's that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That helps too.
I had nothing to do with that. There's some people on the other side. So I think some QAnon people think that I've orchestrated the entire pandemic just to get my special out there.
With Soros.
Well, I guess that's some kind of promotional budget you're working with.
Tom, I got a friend in China, and he was already working on this thing. And I said, it's time. Let's do this right. Let's ease it out globally.
If you had the inside track on the pandemic, but didn't choose to slide your money into just medicine or
I have
or
one
just
box
gloves.
of gloves.
You slid it into your special.
We have we have no toilet paper here. Back I think we have 9 rolls total, and we might have to go to her house just to make sure there's some over there still.
Yeah,
we don't even need it yet.
Well,
but it's nice to look at it.
Yeah. Well, that toilet paper's gone already. It's
gone.
It's you haven't seen what it's like in the world out there.
Zombies need to use toilet paper too.
Yeah.
You should look in my freezer, man. I went through a couple stages of panic around what if the food chain. Mm-hmm. The great thing about what's happening with Lynn here and myself is that we both have eating disorders, and we're compulsive eaters, but we have eating disorders, and this is a great time for that.
Sure.
Because you can spend your whole day thinking about food, preparing food, rationing food. It's a wonderful time to have control issues around food. And right now, I'm like, do we have enough for dinner? What are we going to do for dinner? Should we use those collard greens or some of the greens we froze because we learned how to freeze vegetables during this time?
Yeah.
What about you?
Oh, it's just different kinds of cheese sandwiches.
I was going to say, I knew it had cheese involved. Somehow I knew.
Yeah.
Maybe, are you experimenting with all the different ways of making nachos?
No, it's
extending.
It really is truly cereal and cheese and lettuce. Just like greens and it's not a good start.
Cooking skills or?
No, I have zero. Literally zero.
I was wondering what people do.
That's why I would tell people, it's I went over Mark's house and he made food, and they're just it's what people normally do. I'm but I'm just they're why are you so impressed by it? They're I'm glad he's a good cook, but it shouldn't be impressive that he is a cook.
Period.
Amazing arcane skill.
You should have seen.
He didn't invite us over and just provide us with bowls of special K.
Exactly. Yeah,
he Lucky Charms for dessert.
Yes, you should have seen it. He put a pan and then put it on the stove and the
Cook
stuff
some fish in it.
It was unbelievable. I never saw anything like it. And
it's right in a hot pan.
People were truly.
This thing called a stove?
Yeah, they were just perplexed at why I was just in awe I don't know. It's not in my
Wheelhouse?
toolbox.
It's not in your
No.
toolbox.
He says toolbox. I say wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Are they different? They are different.
Yeah, I think they are. The wheelhouse
It's
is
sort of a range of things, and the toolbox is sort of something you can apply to a problem, a skill set.
yeah, and they all go back to
Your trajectory?
times when to your trajectory, to like times when people did things with their hands.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's just like a wheelhouse, I'm assuming, had some sort of navigational, it probably seems like it was on a boat or a train. Where would the wheelhouse? A train wouldn't need a wheelhouse.
But maybe a mill,
A mill would probably, yeah.
right? A mill by a right. The wheelhouse is where the water is churning the large wheel.
Yeah.
We know nothing.
We know,
Grind things.
yeah, we know
Grind
literally
things.
nothing.
Right.
And then the toolbox.
You know, if we said this with confidence, people would spread it around.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
Tom, a wheelhouse
Yeah.
goes back to when mills sat
Yeah.
on water, and the
Yeah.
water would come through and turn the wheel that would grind the millet or the corn.
Yeah, and then you get people. Then it's always that great thing when somebody just immediately acts like an expert, having no knowledge of who said no verification.
Everybody's
The
like
person's
that.
not a moron who
Yeah.
said the thing.
I
Yeah.
found myself twice today. I was hiking with Dave Anthony, and I said things with moderate confidence. Mm-hmm. And he goes, "Really?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I just saw a thing."
Yeah,
It's, I didn't read it. I just saw the thing.
Central premise of his entire special. Yes.
yeah. So with the special is strangely prophetic in
Yes.
its title.
Prescient, you might say.
So people look at their Netflix and they recommend Outbreak, Pandemic, and your special now are the three things that
Contagion,
come up. Yes, it's
Outbreak,
like,
and
this one
Time's
stand-up.
Fun for
Yeah.
a little relief, a little laughter.
The great thing about Outbreak, if I'm thinking, is that the one with Dustin Hoffman?
Yes.
Oh, they find a monkey. So,
Yeah.
but there's hope at the end of that thing.
Yeah.
You just got to find the monkey.
So somewhere there's a monkey out there that we should be looking for. Why are we all
Gwyneth Paltrow
inside?
had found the
Shouldn't we
bat.
be outside looking for the monkey?
You'd be outside looking for the monkey.
Yeah.
It's a pangolin in this case. We need to find
That would-
pangolin. Yeah, a pangolin. It's a pangolin.
I don't even know what a pangolin
Oh, it's the best. It's one of my favorite animals. Yes.
But
It's
just
a
act
very
like an
cool
authority. Just
thing.
go, oh yeah, pangolin.
I know. It's a
Penguin's a relative
thing. It's a special. It's a
scaled.
scaled.
Okay.
Like, it's in that same. I think it's like an echidna. Maybe it's an monotreme. I'm not sure. I think it's more like an armadillo, related to an armadillo.
So if the president said everybody get out and go look for that monkey, that seems more on brand actually. If he was just like, there's a monkey, and we all got to go
find the
it.
monkey. There's a kid that's got a drawing somewhere.
Yeah.
If he sent his hordes out to go, yeah.
If he said it's $10 million for whoever finds the monkey, that would be.
They'd be stealing other people's monkeys.
Yeah, just get the monkey, bring it over to your local firehouse.
This will do it. Pull
Yeah.
the vaccine out of this monkey. This is where the vaccine is. The monkey vaccine's in here. What is this thing that you and Worcester, Bandcamp's free? Or
Bandcamp
what
is
it?
free. Right now. I think Bandcamp waived all of its they waived their cut of things for the day to help
Musicians?
musicians. Yeah,
Eat.
yes, yeah, because it is amazing. It's just like there's the way the business shifts. There's no touring, which is how people make their living now.
Right.
And then now there's no record stores, so you can't even that vinyl is on this upswing. That doesn't get anybody
musicians,
anywhere
right.
right now.
And, if we don't do something fast, if they don't get a handle on this, we're going to have a lot of musicians just throwing up videos constantly of playing in their living rooms
Yeah.
to remain relevant and connected and feel useful in the world. I don't know when does the kind of chipper tone of the celebrities in quarantine, when does that start to diminish?
I feel like we are.
A week, you think?
Yeah, we're next week. There's going to end up being like a real fight. Like two celebrities are going to fight online.
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah, back and forth.
Yeah, and then that'll just start the collapse of just like, well, fine, I'm not doing my living room concerts anymore. I hope you all die.
So much for me sharing
Yeah.
my yoga in the morning.
Yeah.
In my mansion?
Yeah, I'm not.
What, what, all of a sudden people don't like watching me swim in my pool?
That is the weirdest thing, the bubble that some people have always been in. This is people not realizing they are in a bubble that's in a bubble.
Yeah. I played some guitar, though, and I posted it.
Well, that was fine.
Yeah.
But that to me is you saying, like, we're just passing the time.
Exactly.
Just
oddly,
another hour.
Yeah, oddly, a lot of what's happening right now is not unlike most of my life as a comic. Mm-hmm. So wait, there's nothing to do, and I just write things down and nap and play guitar and eat stuff. I'm used to this. Yeah. I've done this.
Well, especially before Glow and stuff, and before you're pretty busy these days. Before you had.
When I was just a comic, this was what life was like. Except I wasn't in a house. I was in an apartment I didn't want to be in, and I would walk around and talk to shop owners.
Sure.
With my notebook, I'd go to Venus Records.
Okay.
On St. Mark's.
Sure.
Right.
Well, Venus. Yeah,
it was Venus, right across from Kim's Video.
That's
wasn't
right.
It?
Yeah, Venus was on St. Mark's.
Yeah,
I was thinking of Midnight for a second. Midnight was on like 22nd.
Yeah, I didn't know Midnight. Yeah. I went to Venus, and then a little further down on St. Mark's was the guy who had the CD store that was always angry, with the long-haired guy that was kind of an asshole.
The one that would there was like that ground floor CD store,
right? And then there was a million on shelves behind him.
Yeah,
right. And then across Kim's Video had a bunch of stuff at one time.
Yeah.
And then there was the secret place on Union Square where you could get cheaper CDs and everywhere.
Yeah, and now all of those are
gone.
They're all, I don't know what they are now. St. Mark's is one of the weirdest streets.
I don't know what it is. It's just strange Asian snack stores.
Yeah.
Right?
Then there was they tried like automats on it. Do you remember that? Really? They were like, we're bringing back automats, and it's just like, this won't last.
Is Dojo still there?
I don't know.
Where you go in and get the brown rice with the strange fried tofu burger.
If they're there,
the mysterious gravy.
I hope they're hanging in there.
I think the one over by NYU.
There are going to be restaurants left after this.
No restaurants.
I guess maybe McDonald's. I don't know.
What else is going on, man?
I don't know. So, Lynn, you have two things online now because you have the Little Fires Everywhere.
Yeah, like 2 days ago, the first 3 episodes of Little Fires Everywhere dropped on Hulu, and then they'll roll out the following episodes each week, kind of trying to adapt to the old school network TV model. Must watch TV. Put it on your schedule. I don't even know what day. I think it's going to be Wednesdays, maybe, that each of the following episodes. So I directed. It's the first show I've ever been an EP on, an executive producer. And I think the most thrilling moment for me watching it on TV the other night was seeing the opening title sequence, which is super cool. And then seeing my name come up twice as executive producer and then directed by Lynn Shelton. I have to say, pretty exciting. It made me feel like a actual professional in my field. It's really cool looking. And also, I had not yet seen The House on Fire, and the whole thing opens with this giant house on fire, which we just spent months and months and months trying to make sure we were going to get it right, and prepping and talking about it ad nauseum and storyboarding and going back to the location again and again and again. And my mom's comment was, "Did you actually burn that house down?" And I said, well, for some reason, the multi-million-dollar homeowners, the homeowners of the multi-million-dollar house did not want us to burn down the house in the middle of Hancock Park, Los Angeles, along with their neighbors who owned millions of dollar houses.
Yeah.
I don't know why. We gave them a really hefty location fee, and yet for some reason they did not want us to burn it down. Anyway, so those two things combined were exciting. But I directed the first episode, the 4th and 5th episodes, and the finale. And Chewy, yeah, a lot of pet supplies.
Down a Chewy box.
Yeah,
with
cats.
One of our few remaining
have
Lysol wipes.
Another week.
Yeah, I cut them in half. I think they're too big. You don't need.
You cut the cats in half?
No. The Lysol wipes. You just cut like a little off and then use it. So I'm like,
sure.
Trying to
That's
stretch.
Soviet thinking.
Yeah, you're stretching it.
Eastern Bloc thinking.
Yeah. So
I was going to tell you. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. No. You guys talking?
So, yeah. What was is that the biggest scope of a thing you've directed?
Definitely. Yeah. It's definitely the biggest scope of a thing I've directed. It was very, very fancy, big. I've directed an episode of The Morning Show. That was probably the biggest TV show, I've directed, but I was a guest episodic director as opposed to being in from, months of prepping for the whole thing and then just in the trenches for half a year.
Because now you're setting the style of it and the tone and the look, and you're. I mean, I'm in the the bubble. It's sort of, as the director, you're the person who's trying to help the writer and the producers bring their vision. They have a vision in their head, and it's like, okay, well, how do we get it from page to screen? And I'm the one who supposedly has the toolbox of filmmaking know-how to help them do that. And then it's kind of exciting because you're like, you directed, when was the first feature you directed?
I directed my first feature. We go way back in 2005. It premiered in 2006 and won the Slam Dance Film Festival and got Best Cinematography Award at the sort of punk rock little sister to the Sundance Film Festival. It happens at the same time in Park City, Utah. Yeah.
But it's all these things. It's exciting that it's not like, when you think of like Orson Welles and somebody like that, they do their thing and they're like cooked by the time they're 28 years old. That's like hell, right?
Yeah. No, I was a slow burn for me.
And I was actually cooked by the time I was 28, but then I somehow just sort of got brined.
Yeah.
Or like Iggy Pop. Much like Iggy Pop.
Yeah. Jerkied. I'm jerkied.
You're jerkied.
Pickled. Jerkied.
But look how exciting it is that now
in my old
three
age.
of us are on the ascent.
Exactly.
As we maybe are not in our 20s, but we are moving upward.
Yeah.
While you watch the people who peaked early and they're just not sure what to do. They've been done for a long time.
Stupid prodigies.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They're scrambling and saying things like, Biden's okay. I like how you got the plastic cap on the top of your Zoom H6 that was really just there to, protect it in between putting things on top. I've lost mine.
Oh, this is brand new. That will get lost.
Oh, okay.
That'll
I just want to make sure that you would be on top of that.
No,
losing
I'll
of
lose
plastic cap.
So when you think back, when you would watch the people kind of like, and this goes to both of you, when you watch like those people like burning bright out of the box, and then you're just like, come on, what's going on here? And then, isn't it just do you wish you would have known how things would have paid off later?
Well, I've watched, over time I've gotten a little more humble around that and a bit more humility around that, only because in my field, in comedy, I've seen guys go up, get it all, and then lose it, and then have to regroup and figure out how to get it for real. Like, two specific ones is like Bill Burr, and Kevin Hart, were both guys that were offered everything and made a lot of money on deals and speculation, and then it didn't work out.
Yeah.
So they had to go back to the drawing board, which was stand up and regroup and rebuild and find themselves, in stand up. So that's always impressive. But there's plenty of people, Tom, who burned kind of bright and kind of annoying, an annoying brightness.
Sure.
And then at the time that was happening, you didn't know, like you were probably envious because you didn't know how it was going to end up.
If I think about it now, I could get envious of people's old selves.
Sure, but then
easy peasy.
I like that guy now, but man, I didn't like him at all.
Yeah,
Let's tap into that resentment that I don't need to feel anymore because I'm way more successful than him.
Yeah, it's like this sealed off, like tank in the back, like that they buried, and they're just like. You're like, I wonder if I could dig a little bit. I could find the cap on that tank. Start see what's back in that tank.
I'm unscrewing it right now.
Yeah, just see get back to 1993.
Oh, those
so
fuckers.
Mad at somebody just climbing.
What magazine is that?
It doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to say, for me, I was a starving artist for so long and trying to figure out, like literally hand to mouth, like kind of situation with no money for so long. I'm really dating myself, but I am old. And when it hit for me, when I started being able to make a living doing what I do, I just felt, I really did, I just had to constantly pinch myself. Like be on the set. The first TV gig I ever got after my third feature got into Sundance and I got reps, and then I was able like a year later to get an episode of Mad Men, and it was my favorite TV show, and I'm on the set just like, what am I, do they know that, do I really deserve to be here? Try not to feel like a fraud. But just so fucking grateful because I just had spent so many years paying my dues, you know. And I feel like if it had happened, I knew so many incredibly presumptuous, entitled 22-year-olds, you know, who just made, you know, really like hit it right away. Their first film got into Sundance, and they just felt like, well, this is what happens, you know, this is the way it goes. And then they just had a harder time later when it didn't quite. Just, everything isn't like that, you know.
Sure.
But also just the lack of gratitude. Like I felt like I had a leg up on them because I just felt so grateful after years and years and years of
and the gratitude comes hand in hand with maybe navigating the big picture, the long-term version of a career.
Right.
And it's like, you think about those people and they make these bold moves and they think like, well, maybe I'm a genius. They're not sure. So they're like, well, I got to act like a genius. And they make some insane move and no one wants it. And then they're like, well, I guess I wasn't a genius. And it's like, now I have less than nothing.
Always be wary of self-declaring geniuses.
Yeah.
Or as a general rule, anyone who's like, I think I might be a genius, you're like, yeah, I got to go, I think.
It's like, you have to just be like, because even like the actual geniuses don't make things for legacy. They were just making the thing that you made. Like Bob Dylan's working on this stuff. He's just like, I'm trying to make this like a Rolling Stone. Yeah, I just got to make this thing. It's like, I think I did good today.
This is what I did.
Yeah,
like, look at I wrote down on the paper.
Yeah, and that's, I guess I'll do another one tomorrow.
I use the same 3 or 4 chords that Woody used, and it's good.
Yeah. But it's like when these people work for legacy, they're just doomed. Like I remember somebody on your show who I'm not going to name, but a comedian asked you just like, will I be remembered? Will I be remembered? And I was just like, oh, that's the most skin crawling thing I've ever heard in my life. Just doing something for all time. It's like, you're not going to be here. Like literally, why would you care about what happened, about what your work means after you're dead?
And also, no one is remembered in a broad sense. You're lucky if a few guys, like I'm sure that you personally, Tom Scharpling, you are single-handedly keeping the names of at least 24 bands alive.
And it's only because I like them, and it's like, but it's like,
and some obscure filmmakers, I might add.
Sure. Well, I'm doing what I can, but because I'm just in the same boat. We're on this like the same kind of culty boat, just sailing alongside the big boat. Like there's a big boat, and then there's like our mid-sized boat.
I don't know what it is with me, like, because this special, when it came out, or when I finished it out, I was proud of it, but I also knew, like, there has always been something in my mind where I'm like, I'm not fucking around. You know, I came out of the real deal thing. I paid my dues in a genuine way. Yeah. And for years, I never liked being lumped in with alt comedy. I never enjoyed, having to, go over to Chris Hardwick's encampment at the comic book store to do stand-up. That was not I was just sort of like trying to have traction, and do what I do. So it was weird when this came out, and I know when I watched this special, End Times Fun, I can see everything that got me here in that thing.
Yeah.
And I can also see all the bits and where my influences played into each bit. I know them all. Like, I didn't know them when I was doing it necessarily, but I can see them. But also, I went out of my way to kind of like, I went and did, Bert Kreischer's podcast. I asked, Bill Burr to, take a look at it and maybe tweet about it. Cause I'm like, I'm not saying your fans are all meatheads or like bad guys or anything, but they're, I deserve to be reckoned with by the people that like just straight up comedy.
Oh yeah. No, it doesn't have to have some asterisk next to it or just be in some kind of like select lane.
Right. Like, you're with the Precious crew. Yeah. No, I'm not. Yeah. I don't remember who I said it to, but I said it to somebody, and it was in reference to another comic who I taken a sweet shot at. in the special, but like I've never followed anybody and I've never led anybody. And that's exactly where I'm good.
Yeah. Oh, it was this thing. It's like you were doing your thing and it just took waiting for the technology or waiting for the pandemic
to really catch on.
Like, boy, he really hit his stride when we all started dying is when he really hit a groove.
Of course, that's what it was happening for me.
Yeah. It'll be people's.
Well, Jason,
technology, you're right. You know, like it was a matter of letting people getting to know me in a different way to really solidify, you know, my ability to get audiences. Like most of the people that listen to me on the podcast, you know, initially they were like, well, we should support him with the stand-up. I'm like, this is what I do. You know?
I have to say, your stand-up listening to, I've only known you for like 4.5 years now, but listening to your stand-up before in like from 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it's...
She listened to Fido Engagement.
Oh, Lord. It
is like a different person.
It is like a different person. Mark keeps pointing out to me, I'm the same guy. I'm like, yeah, it really doesn't, like a whole different version.
That guy lives in me. He lives in me.
But it's like that.
But I feel like the podcast, like just getting some level of success. I mean, also that was a very dark place in personal life too for him, but I feel like getting some kind of sense of validation of any kind started to help you, and learning empathy, you know, through having to listen to other people and stuff and really be in deep conversation with people. But I feel like your material, what I'm trying to say is I think your material now is also more accessible.
I think I've learned how to present it. Yeah. Like I give trigger warnings. Okay. It's just going to hurt some people.
You also, I feel like just having watched you over for so long, like I used to see you at Eating It at Luna every Monday night. You were like the anchor to those nights for years.
Authentically bitter.
Yeah, and I just remember you'd come up and it would just be like, "Hey, Mark just signed a deal for a thing," and then you talk about that, or like, "Oh, Mark's not it's not a good week for Mark." Like afterwards, just be like, "I guess Mark's deal's not going so hot." like Mark's very mad tonight, or Mark's really happy tonight. But it would see you. It was like charting your week.
Yeah.
Like I'd see how Mark's life
Mark
is
just
going.
went to the blow guy's house. Mark seems kind of perky.
Mark's very sweaty tonight.
Yeah. But then, Mark keeps grinding his teeth.
Yeah. Like sweaty Mark's here.
Yeah.
Look out.
But it's like, it seems like that guy needed to just like exhale at some point.
Yeah, something.
Like you were able to just honestly let some of the small stuff go at some point, and maybe just a little bit of success and a little bit of control over your own destiny.
I think so.
You didn't have to wait for gatekeepers to say, go do your thing.
Yeah.
The technology let you build the thing you and Brendan started, and then you were just able to be yourself.
Finally.
And that's all it took, just a little bit of validation, and you because most people
in 35 years.
Age sobriety was a good step along the way.
I think I was starting to think I had dementia because like things weren't bothering me as much, and I'm like, no, it's a good thing.
That's is this the end?
Yeah, what's going on?
Why isn't it keeping me up at night?
If it is dementia, it's not so bad.
I have a question for you, honestly, though, and for your listeners, and I'm going to ask mine too, because I'm in a little bit of trouble. I don't even think I've told you about this. That I've been having this weird thing where I don't even know how to explain it. Have you ever been looking at your phone and had almost like an out-of-body experience? Like you're so connected with the phone that you have this weird moment where it's like, this is my whole brain right now is involved with this. I don't even need my body. Have you had that?
Sure. So you mean just to put your being into a device?
Right. Yeah. To the point where you're like I should be able to leave what I'm living in.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
Well, that's like Ted Williams or Walt Disney, and you're just looking. Are you looking to be?
No. It happens. Like it scares me.
Okay.
Like I'm looking at my phone, and all of a sudden I realize, do I even have a body?
Oh, so you're just saying, like, am I inside of? Is this me?
I don't
know.
I can't quite explain the feeling, but it feels like as if like I could be talking to on the microphone, and then just step over there and be like, oh, look at me talking on that microphone. Like I'm that close.
Sure.
To leaving my body. Is that normal?
It's all about the phone. It's like it's abduction by phone.
It's not abduction. It's just literally a feeling I'm having where I become very hyper aware that my brain is just sitting in my body that's holding this phone, and that I don't need the body necessarily.
Sure. Yeah. No,
are you just placating me? I mean,
no. I think you're probably just
looking at the phone too much,
overly reliant on this thing, and it just feels like it's your life, especially now. It's a lifeline.
Yeah.
He brought up the idea. It kind of shocked me, honestly. Yesterday, the day before, he was like, just out of the blue, I think I'm just gonna have a no phone day, and I was like, I don't even think that's possible, Mark.
Because I think I'm leaving my body.
Sure.
Like I'd like to, take a break and get, and just make sure I'm staying in my body.
I understand it. It's you're not sure where you end and this version of yourself begins.
It's something about a brain technology interface. It's not good. It's something about like all this talk about the singularity.
Yeah.
I think I might be the only one that knows it's happened already.
So is this your next special? It's going to just be a phone on a stool?
A phone on a stool is your next special.
Just like you come out and you turn it on and then
no, you don't even need a set design. I don't even know if you'd need an audience. Let me see. Phone on a stool. Yeah.
I don't know. I interviewed Jeff Dunham the other day.
How'd that go?
Great. It hasn't come out yet.
No, he seems really interesting to me.
Does he?
I'm serious.
Yeah,
no,
he is.
He's
didn't you like? I realized like what got me into it, and I talked to him about like how did it feel when assholes like me were like Jeff Dunham, puppet guy. So, but like when I was very young, I liked ventriloquism.
It's funny.
Yeah,
it can
didn't you
be
like
really
it?
fun. Look,
if they're good at it, I had a doll.
Well, it's also a crazy skill. Like it's nuts.
Yeah,
I had a doll. I had
Did he look like you?
No, it was a Charlie McCarthy.
Did he look like you?
I wish.
The money to craft it.
Well, now this sounds like some open challenge to the comedy community.
Yeah, to make me a ventriloquist doll that looks
within
like
2 weeks. People have nothing to do now? Are you kidding?
They're going to take my pictures of me from online and put it through their 3D printer.
People are stuck in their homes with literally nowhere to go and nothing to do.
I just wish someone would paint that last bit of my special.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the comic book
I know,
artist?
right?
Where's the comic book
that's
artist?
coming. The whole Avengers thing.
It's going to take. It's going to take half a year. It's like the chapel, the Sistine Chapel feeling,
But somebody's going to make
masterpiece is being created as we speak.
Yeah. Well, they're working on a ventriloquism dummy of you now. You're going to be stuck with a version of yourself.
Then I can really get out of myself. Then I can leave. Then it can be like that movie with Anthony Hopkins.
Yes.
Magic. Yeah. Exactly. You're just.
I'm right there. You finally figured out how it's all going to end for me.
Yeah.
Well, in a hotel room with a dummy.
It's so. Do you feel like do you both feel like there are these certain types of entertainers that I'm like a sucker for certain people that like I think Larry the Cable Guy is honestly a funny traditional comedian. When you strip away the stupidity,
I knew him when he was that. I knew him when he was Dan Whitney and he was doing spots at the store before Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah,
and he was just this guy. He had like kind of a mullety, curly haircut. And I don't remember where. I used to see him there occasionally when I was a doorman.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he's just like, he's good at what he does. Yeah. Like he's a technician.
Yep.
With
it. I can see that totally. I can, like, if I'm down, when I was going through my divorce, I would watch, Kevin James and Brian Regan. Mm-hmm. Just the physicality thing.
Sure.
People who are naturally funny physically and in control of that, forget about it.
Yeah.
The best.
Yeah, like Larry the Cable, I think he's clearly panders and caters.
Might be a little wrong-minded.
Right, yeah, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not dismissing any of that part of it.
Right.
But I'm saying, but when you strip all of that away, underneath it is somebody who is good at their skill.
Sure.
And he's ahead of he's not behind the people that think he sucks. He's not behind he's not figuring it out like, oh, this guy's bad. He doesn't know how to do this. He definitely knows how to do it.
Oh yeah, he not only knows how to do it, he created a character, and he I talked to some guy. I remember there was some guy no one would know, and I don't even know him anymore, a comic I work with, who was talking about working with Larry the Cable Guy, and negatively speaking, like, oh, that guy, he like gets up at 5 a.m. to do morning radio on the phone from the hotel for the next town he's going to. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean he's focused and
he's really working hard.
Tickets.
Yeah.
Like he's selling out or something. Yeah. Jesus.
But where's like isn't there a line with that though when you look at like
ambition?
I mean, yeah. Well, ambition. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I know where this goes.
Well, maybe this is one.
This goes to the people that you and I share.
Oh, yeah.
That hasn't changed. But you know what? I don't think one of them's doing so good.
Mouth the. Oh yeah, no.
What's going to happen there?
Yeah, no, that's a special adventure. That I'm looking forward to watching that storybook play out.
How does that show business tail end?
Yeah.
What's that? Where's that behind the comedy?
Yeah. Well, look, we'll see if that person has it in them to find their second act.
That's right.
Hey,
this is America. You can really fail 2-3 times.
Oh yeah.
4 times, 10. Keep coming back, trying.
As long, look, you look at like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, who like no one wants that. They just didn't leave. And now suddenly it's like they're like a legendary band just because they simply didn't go away when they should have. Like anybody else would have gotten the hint and been just like, we're not very good.
Well, it also is important to seem like you're having a good time.
Yeah. People like, people like fun more than anything.
Like old guys bopping around as if
willing to jump around with a sock on your dick.
Yeah.
With nothing else on.
Oh, you're good to go. You've got
for decades.
Yeah, for decades. Yeah. I was like, I was watching, I was looking for like an early version of, Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere, like seeing how early of a clip there is of Neil Young playing that.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't find, like a video of it, but I did find the Red Hot Chili Peppers doing it. And I was just like, well, I think this song's indestructible because it still sounds pretty good with these guys doing it. Like, these guys were not able to kill, like, they would kill, like, when they did, like, Fire by Jimi Hendrix, I'm like, I don't think I like that song anymore. Like, I think they killed it. Like,
well, here's one thing I always say about them, like, because everyone knows, like, there is musicianship involved there, and they've had some good guitar players. But for as long as I've listened to them, I've always said it in this tone, like, he can't sing, right?
Right? He's not. It's just about enthusiasm, and that's the fun part of it. That's when it comes down to just like, man, they're having fun. Yeah, and there's a lot of comedy now that is more fun-based than funny-based.
Well, I think the problem that causes is it spreads this idea that everybody can do everything.
Yeah.
And they can't. Mm-hmm. The one thing Twitter has showed us is that many people, not so funny.
No, Twitter.
But I'm talking about laymen. Like, there is a certain professionalism to it.
Yeah. Oh, no, and it's also a big bummer when people are funny, it's just like, ooh, you're not funny on Twitter.
I stopped doing Twitter because I got tired of regular people tagging my shit. And they do better than me. Yeah. I'm like, why didn't I think of that angle?
Yeah.
Who is that guy with 7 followers just tagged the shit out of that joke? And I didn't even come up with that. I didn't come up with that angle.
Well, that's how you got to get. Then you've got to get into like Robin Williams territory. Just send him a check.
Just rewrite it.
Yeah, you just take it. Take it. The guy gets Venmo'd $500 from Marc Maron.
Some guy did it years ago. He tweeted something. And I said, like, can I use that?
Uh-huh.
And he's like, yep. I mean, I built the idle premise already around it.
Yeah.
But he just had this little thing, and I'm like, do you mind? He's like, no, go ahead. Great.
But
before we filmed your last special, Too Real. No, I'm not. But there was a tag that came about very last minute, right? Am I crazy?
Oh, that I came up with. Yeah.
Yeah,
it was the monkey thing. It was the cat.
But
the cat saying, like, I don't know how much time I have left.
Yeah.
I think came up like day of. Or
Yeah.
That's how I'm going to end it. Because the other ending was grim. It was the guy dying. Right? And the nurse saying, it's okay, baby.
It really is. The last 2 of his specials are both so good. And I'm not just saying that because I directed both of them. They really are genuinely fantastic.
So the only people that can do this show now are people that have their own mics?
Yeah, I think so. I don't want I have a spare mic that I haven't touched, but I guess the way it works is one person who doesn't have a microphone can do it, and then I'm stuck with a mic until this is over.
There's no way to.
Yeah, I mean, I can, but I don't want to be the person that is just like, hey, thanks a lot. I did the thing, and 2 days later I'm sick.
I see. Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to be that guy either.
If you present it, if it's sterilized, you present it to, that's a tough one. I thought you were going to throw a mic, not just the cord, but a mic, and I was like, how is he going to not hurt the mic? And I imagine it would be all wrapped up in bubble wrap, and you just toss it like a football.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to, I can do that one time.
Right.
And then it'll just be like.
I'd like to reach out.
It's original packaging.
To future guests of this particular incarnation of the Best Show, in that I think if you have one of those, those like chairs people bring to concerts on the lawn, maybe a fold-out chair, of some kind would be good. Because I don't expect you to supply that.
No. What I can do is I can have that, and I could just pop my trunk. And just go to my trunk,
there you
get
go.
the chair.
That's good.
And I could also have like a gift bag in the trunk for people who appear. Like, hey, thanks for being on the show. I press my trunk button and it pops up.
Are you going to clean the chair?
Oh, I would have to. Yeah.
I'm not gift bag.
I'm not looking for, and the gift bag would be clean.
Yeah.
This might be the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with the show now?
Well, we're good for a few weeks. We got interviews, and I'm hoping that. Podcast has been sanctioned. It's within the
exemptive.
Essential.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah. We just looked it up.
Oh.
Thank God, right?
It's on the order from the health department that it's an essential job, a media news podcast. It said podcast right on there. Podcast.
Okay.
Right. But it's a little vague. I mean, that's all it says is that they're allowed. But it's like, how do you do it? Yeah.
Does that mean everyone? Because I think it's like 7 people don't have a podcast.
Obviously, if it's a person alone with a mic, that's one thing. But if you're going to have guests, like, don't you want to have some kind of protocol?
Yeah.
You know? So, I
think if we're responsible.
Yeah, I can offer the environment where I can say, like, I'm the only one here.
Mm-hmm.
If you come over.
Yeah.
I've got wipes.
Yeah.
I've got spray.
Sure.
And you've sprayed everything down first. I think you can tell them that too.
Yeah, but who am I inviting over? How big of a freak is this person? Like, I don't know, man.
It's somebody who actually doesn't want to get sick and die. That's who it is. Any average schmo would want to make sure they're not touching a germ-infested,
When they have the home test kits, we'll be able to just be like, look, you want me to do it in front of you?
Yeah. How long does it take for the test for the results to come back?
I don't know.
Because then you'll just be like.
Wait till tomorrow.
Yeah,
hang out.
You're gonna have to tell, Danny DeVito to cool out on the front porch. That's one of my favorite ones where he's like, "I was waiting for you to ask me to be on this," as if you were just like, "Nah, let's pass." Like, you finally got me on the show. I wanted to do it for years, and you're like, we really were like, we were not saying no to you. He's like, I wanted to do it, and you said no.
Did he say that?
He was so insistent that finally you let him in the door to do the podcast.
You know that guy delivers all the time.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Every time. We just watched him in The Rainmaker.
Oh my God, he's so brilliant.
Rainmaker, is that the Coppola movie, right?
Yeah. I'd never seen it before.
No, I've never seen it.
Movie. It's great.
It's pretty great. I was impressed. Oh my God, the best. It was when Claire Danes was still in her sort of just poster at the same time, maybe as My So-Called Life, just this, there was something about her at that age, at that early era where she was so vulnerable and your heart just breaks every time you look at her. Mine had a real soft spot for her.
So she liked it. But DeVito plays this schlumpy little lawyer and he's genius.
It's
Damon
Matt
looks
Damon,
like he's a
right?
13-year-old.
Matt Damon?
Yeah, a 13-year-old law student. He looks so young.
And then just by weird coincidence, because I was thinking about sobriety movies, I made her watch Changing Lanes the next night.
Okay.
Which is Affleck at around the same age as a lawyer, a different type of lawyer.
Sure. That's the one with him and Sam Jackson.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. It's hard to buy that it's like one day, but it's nice to see Samuel Jackson portraying just a regular guy and not having not the reason to go over the top with everything he says.
Sure. Yeah.
Did you make it?
It was nice. I like, no, not at all. No. I love Sam Jackson in that role. Hi. And once you explain to me, he's always said that it's his favorite movie about sobriety, but it's not about, sobriety movie, but it's not about sobriety But I understand that how it's a.
Sam Jackson is trying to stay sober, and this Wall Street lawyer hits his car when he's on the way to meet for a meeting with the judge and his wife and kids who he's trying to hold on to, and he doesn't make the meeting. And he's got to stay sober while fighting with the urge to kill Ben Affleck and hold the paperwork that he accidentally got hostage. And they just go at it. And, there's a scene there where he sits in the bar with that drink and doesn't take it. He calls William Hurt, his sponsor, who wasn't a lot of help in that particular situation, but he chose not to drink. And he did try to kill Ben Affleck by taking the lug nuts out of his tire.
Well, is that what's so?
And then Ben Affleck hired a guy to erase his entire life online, and through it all, Samuel Jackson does not drink. And at the end, they apologize to each other.
Well, but it's really
to me. What I'm saying, Tom, is the program works.
Okay, this is.
It's to me, it's much more about how you can be sober but not actually recovered, right?
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Lynn.
What?
What kind of bullshit is that? Why don't we'll talk about it later.
What are you going to do now, Lynn? You're on ice. You can't make them. At least Mark can talk into a microphone, and But you need.
It turns out, like I know so many people who have office jobs. My brother, my sister-in-law, some of my friends, and they're all working from home. Everybody's like working from home. It's not easy. They can't do meetings or whatever. It's hard. You're going to do it all on Zoom, whatever.
Sure.
It turns out you can't make TV shows or movies from home.
No.
You can't do it. So we are really up shit creek.
Yeah.
There's like 150,000 people who are just up shit creek.
People are making shows from home. John Oliver did it almost from home the other day. It was okay.
Sure.
I think
there's only very well, but
Sure. Her and I are going to finish the script we've been working on for 3 years, I think.
Okay, that's good.
And she just has to break it down into scenes, and then we're going to make a new outline and finish it. We're about 90 pages in.
That's great.
It's true. What are you laughing at? Tell them.
What?
Every time I say, okay, well, maybe we like carve out a couple hours and a couple, like Thursday to, like I can't stand writing. I hate it. I hate writing. I can't do it. It's torture.
Hate it.
When you wrote your books,
the worst experience.
It's just the worst.
I can't stand it.
Because I'm doing that now.
How's it for you?
It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. It was literally the hardest thing I've ever done.
It's
I get
hanging
so
over
depressed.
You, Tom. It's hanging over you.
It's like you wake up.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, I guess I can get it. It feels like to me, this is what it feels like. I wake up. The proposition is for me to go get a hammer and crack my head open and then like sort through and then turn that into words. And then I have to scoop all the stuff back and put it back and then do it again. It's just like, of course I want to do anything other than this. It's so hard.
It's just so sure of it. There's every once in a while when you're writing, like I don't call myself a writer. What is this now? That's menacing.
The jackbooted helicopters. Jeez Louise. Wow. I don't even see. Oh, there it is. It's so loud.
Yeah,
we're just going to let that pass by. Okay.
Are we clear?
Yeah. You know when
they haven't strafed our.
Okay.
Yeah, when a mist starts coming out of those, that's when we're in trouble.
That's next.
Is when it's just the spray.
No, they do that now.
The choppers are going to start spraying the streets.
The spray.
Get
Wait,
inside.
Is this our house?
Yeah, it'd be like Close Encounters when they're just like they'll be dropping dead cows on the side of the road, saying, "Don't go near the mountain. There's a chemical spill.
Sure.
Everybody's dying because the air's poisoned. You find out it's not real." Yeah.
Never find the monkey. Oh, writing. No. The first book, Jerusalem Syndrome. The one thing about writing is that if you, and I'm sure writers experience this a lot, but if you're new to writing, is if you get into it, you will find things about yourself that you didn't know or you didn't have into a sort of context, or you'll find memories you didn't think you had. You'll have thoughts about things that you've done or have been through that you've never articulated before because you don't usually write them down.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. Mm-hmm. But, you're kind of it's sort of sometimes few and far between when that happens, and just the chore of writing. I was fortunate in the second book, Attempting Normal, that for about the first 300 episodes or more, I had this fan who was very dedicated and would transcribe all of my monologues. Mm-hmm. So I had like over 1,000 pages of me talking about stuff. So I was able to sort of use that as a template. And
Amy.
Amy, yeah. Amy.
Amy
you know Amy?
Gottschalk.
Does she listen to you too?
She does, yeah.
Oh.
She helps me with some things here and there. She's great. She helps with the mailings.
I don't think she likes me anymore. I think
she definitely likes you.
Oh, I thought she moved past me.
No, she likes you.
Well, you say hi to her for me.
I will. You can say hi right now.
Well, I'm always grateful for the work that Amy did. She made that second book happen.
She's great. She helps me a lot.
Is she okay?
Yeah, I think so.
Good.
I think she's doing well.
Super fan Amy.
Another New Jersey person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the second book, that helped you.
They helped me have the sort of the stuff I've already said as the meat of it, which is also how I wrote the first book. Was based on a one-person show that I kind of expanded. So it's always better to see my thoughts that I have said in the moment out loud on paper to sort of get started with things, or else I get too writerly and I overwrite and it's stupid. Yeah. That was the biggest thing about editors. Like the first one was sort of like, I think you could cut this whole piece out here. I'm like, but that was poetry.
Yeah,
that took the most time to do.
That whole book is poetry. It really is beautifully crafted. You can tell he put a lot of effort into it. The Jerusalem Syndrome. It's like very well crafted. I love how it's written. I will say, Waiting for the Punch, you just took it one step further and actually used transcriptions of your words. You and Lynn let Brendan actually edit the whole thing together. But those, the sort of intros, the prologues to every chapter are very beautifully written. Were those hard to, Waiting for the Punch. Was that hard to write?
Normal.
No, Waiting for the Punch. I'm talking about the last book that
writing the intros to each
your
chapter?
name is on. Yeah, how hard was that?
Well, Lynn, excuse us, Tom.
I'm excited.
To be honest with you, Brendan had to do that thing where it's sort of like, so you're going to have to get those done by next week. I'm like, I know, man. I know. Yeah. Get off my back. It's just like I don't write that much. And he was like, you write every week, dude. Because I write that update.
Yeah.
And that was more like writing that. Like it was all sort of impulsive writing, just kind of to focus on it and get it done honestly. Yeah. People were out walking. That's good.
I was showing somebody that, like, for Waiting for the Punch, it's like, I'm in here in a few spots. I showed them, it's just like, failure. Like, the chapters is like, good to see Tom still on brand.
I love that book
so much. It was like defeat.
The only thing that we fucked up in that book, out of all things we could have fucked up, and Brendan is so meticulous, is that, we misspelled John Glazer's name. Out of all the people in the world,
sure,
that you're gonna, and I think he's a Jon, and I think it got by us after several different copy editings.
Sure,
it's John, and he literally, I think he emailed Brendan asking, "Who's John Glazer?" John, and I'm like, "What can I do to make this right?" And I think I offered him money to show up at every reading that I did from the book to stand up and go, you misspelled my name.
Yeah.
But he never responded.
You're exactly the same way with Mark with a K. You really, it digs deep at you. I can tell.
I understand. He's completely like warranted, and it sits with me. It's a horrible thing. I think he's a funny guy. We had a great conversation. He was one of the first guests to have to just show up asking for food. I cooked him a sausage.
Okay.
I cooked John Glazer a sausage, and I think he was the first one that I fed.
The first guest you fed.
Yeah, and then later I fed Roseanne Mellon, and I fed
Abby and Ilana.
Abby and Ilana had puffins.
Okay.
Yep.
Sure.
Barbara's puffins. That's right.
Who's brought the nicest things over?
Well, that would have to be Randall Park brought a knife. And what else did he bring?
And then the other park. Both parks.
Oh, yeah, right. Not the Pack. Anderson Pack and Randall Park.
Okay.
Both brought gifts. So apparently it's a Korean thing. But Mandy Moore brought some nice cookies.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. And, there's been people.
Tandy Tandy Newton.
Tandy Newton sent me flowers, very nice flowers. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I fed Kristen Bell like a full meal over here.
Okay.
Because she was famished, and I showed her what I had left over, and she's like, "This is exactly what I eat at my house." And that was nice.
And you cooked that, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice. It's nice, and these are the people you can knock on their door when this world falls apart.
For toilet paper.
Yeah.
Remember?
Kristen Bell. You
Yeah.
can get a buzz at the gate.
She's got to have plenty.
Yeah.
Toilet paper.
Just throw it over the wall.
Yeah. I'll be here at their new house.
Yeah.
They've rebuilt. I wonder if that's done yet.
Just throw me an 8-pack over the wall.
You know, for a while, Dax was just doing his podcast in this like studio above this garage, and the entire house was like being rebuilt. Like it was nothing but a construction site, but Dax was up there.
So it just sounds of jackhammers in the background.
I don't know if it did. I don't know, but I remember that when I did it, I was on that thing first. I was one of the first guests on his show that is homage to my show. I wanted to be there to help him, slam the champagne bottle into the side of the ship there.
Yeah, exactly.
That had my name crossed off it.
No,
wow.
It is funny that.
Is that wrong?
No resentment.
No,
None.
but it's
sense any.
You started you did not invent conversations, and you're not claiming.
I'm kidding. I never
of course
did.
You, but
he's got someone in there with him. I don't have any of that kind of resentment.
No, but there's a certain kind of thing where you definitely cracked a code on a format,
right,
that was very adaptable for a lot of people.
The episode that dropped today was Utkarsh Ambudkar, and he says something really sweet, which neither of you pointed out, but he said, I'm a huge fan. Like, you just totally influenced me. And in fact, I had a podcast of my own, and he based his podcast, which only lasted for a year and a half, on the thing that happens often, or especially early on in Mark's podcast, where there's somebody he's known for a very long time, and he's like, okay, so we need to deal with this, because I know I was a dick to you. Was I a dick to you? And then they talk about, and they get through this thing. Well, yeah, you were kind of a dick to me, but I was a dick to you too. And they go back over this sort of history of being dicks. And then that was what he based his entire podcast on. Utkarsh was, and what I gleaned was that he just was never a dick to anybody, because he said it was actually called like All About Me or something. Let's talk about me. Yeah. And it was supposed to be going back in history with these people and saying, okay, so I know we had a thing, or like, what did I do to be a dick to you or whatever? And it just turned into a compliment fest. Like people would just come on and say, you've always been wonderful, man. Like, I just love you so much. And I just thought that was really funny.
Thought he was a dick. It turns out he wasn't one. I, on the other hand, was an actual dick.
No.
But that guy Utkarsh, you know that guy?
No.
He's funny. Mm-hmm. Did you see Brittany Runs a Marathon?
Yes.
He plays that guy.
Her friend who becomes...
Yeah.
And did you see the Oscars this year by any chance?
I did not.
Oh, he was the best part of the Oscars. He came out for like 30 seconds and he did a freestyle rap on what had happened so far during the Oscars.
Okay.
And it was brilliant. He's so on the ball and funny.
But the real story for him is that, like, he was, part of Lin-Manuel Miranda's crew.
Sure.
And Lin-Manuel had pretty much written him into the original Hamilton, and he just fucked himself. He was drinking and he blew Hamilton. He blew it.
Yeah.
And that's like, he's the sober guy now, but that's a pretty good story.
Yeah.
That, like he
was in all the developmental phases of it, and
and then to just be part. Like,
fucked it up.
To be looking outside, looking in on that.
There's a story of redemption right there. It got, second chances right there.
He freestyle. He's a great rapper, and I don't know what that even means.
They do it at the end of the episode, right?
He does some freestyling at the end. I play a little guitar riff, and he does the thing. Like, because when someone says that, like, I rap and whatever, you're like, okay. Yeah. But he's good.
Really good. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's like genius.
I'm going to listen to it. I'm listening to this Barry Sonnenfeld audio book.
He's supposed to do my show. He just wrote me an email about my special.
I
have the book.
Yeah.
But no one's flying anywhere. He was scheduled, I think, for like last Sunday. But he instead wrote a very nice letter and sent it through Brendan that he enjoyed my special.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and he said something very funny. I can't remember what. He's a funny guy. I started reading the book.
Yeah, book's funny.
Yeah.
Now, Lynn, when you work on these things, because you've now moved into television as much as feature stuff, which means that you're doing things that are not necessarily self-generated, where so much of your stuff's been self-generated. Like, is that a skill set? Was that a skill set you always had in you? Did that come out of your editing background and working in things?
Yeah, that's a good point.
How's that
editing
adaptability
is
happen?
you've got to be. I've always wanted to be a part of the crew. Like, I started making movies in Seattle with this as a part of this very small, tight filmmaking community, and my friends were my crew. Like, they we were all on the same level. And when somebody in my crew, was like, I'm going to make my movie, here's a short, or I always felt bummed out because I couldn't all my friends would jump up and say, okay, let me work on your movie. I had no skill set to offer because I really was just a director.
Sure.
So if it's not your thing, in a movie, you can't really offer anything. So I'd show up and take some still photographs, photography, and bring chocolate.
Sure.
And that was all I could do. And just hang out on set because I wanted to be with my friends, They're like, why can't I just be a part of the crew? So I actually really do like that aspect of television where for people who don't know, in movies, directors are generally the one who have the final say and how it goes. They're sort of the final gatekeeper. They're the ones who are the creative visionary. Even if they didn't write the script, they're the one who kind of get to actually execute their vision.
Sure.
To varying degrees of creative control, depending on how many millions of dollars and how many, what their contract says or whatever. But if it's very independent, like the way I've always worked, you tend to get a lot of creative control. But in the director's role is very different in television if you're not also the creator, because it's the writer. The writers are the ones. The creator and the showrunner are writers, and then you're working in service to their vision as a director. So it's a much more collaborative role. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's always collaborative. You've got to work with a team of people, but in this case, it's like I'm channeling somebody else's creative vision, and I do enjoy it as long as I respect the people I'm working with and they respect me, and it's a mutual. Like the one I'm working on with you. I mean, my God, I've never had a better time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
because then it feels like if you trust everybody, you can let go of a little bit of your kind of proprietary territorial stuff. Because it's for the greater good.
Yeah, if everybody's
working
in service of the project itself, and if we all are a little bit more fluid with our egos, and it's not just like, I have to get credit for that, or it's why we have to do it this way because it's my idea. And, if everybody's just looking for the best idea, and there's also a matter of if everybody's competent and confident in their own skills, it's easier for them to sort of find the right people to work with and then trust them to do their job. And anyway, if it's yeah.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy that. It's easier for me to be in that super collaborative position because I've made 8 movies and I'm going to keep making movies. Yeah. And I know I'm going to get a chance to be the one who's completely the control freaky one in control.
Because some things have been self-generated, and other things you like. There's
only one movie I made that I didn't write,
which was
or
Laggies.
Wasn't the one who brought it into.
Right.
Yeah, Laggies was brought to me by the writer and the producer who'd been developing it with her, and they asked if I would direct it, and I was like, okay, yeah, it seems sort of like something I would have written.
Sure, yeah. But having gone through that, did you feel something missing? Like you need that to have been there from the beginning? Is there a part of you that you feel like for me to really be 100% in the idea I have to be there for the birth of the idea?
Kind of. I'm interested in. I've definitely entertained scripts that have come my way, movie scripts that have come my way as. In that, similar fashion, I've entertained the idea of it. I think I would be a little bit more, I would take over a little bit more than I did. I think it was because I'd only ever worked with another writer in the television realm. So I was used to that relationship. And Andrea Siegel, bless her heart, the writer of Laggies, they're back, kept having to remind me. She'd be like, Lynn, you're the director of this. Like, you don't need to ask my permission to change such as, anything about the script. And she was so good about taking notes that I gave her. And if I wanted to just try my hand at rewriting a scene, she was cool with that. But, so I'm very proud of that movie. But it was a harder process for me than I thought it would be to really make it my own.
Sure.
And so it does help if I'm on the ground floor. Like, what I'd really like to do is work with another writer. I'd love to work with another writer I really respect and have them do the horrible job we've been discussing of writing.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And I'm developing it with them.
Yeah.
And it's collaborative, but they're really doing the bulk of I think that would be great. But I have found that in general, writing, the process of writing, which I do like because I like the control of being able to think, say what's going to have a say over what's going to be said and what's going to happen. I do enjoy it much more with another person. I think writing alone is total agony. But I disagree with Mark. I keep trying to remind him or convince him, trying to convince him that it's easier with another person, but he forgets.
I believe that's true. I'm just like, for some reason, there's certain things that people say, like maybe we should take a look at that script again. It's just, it triggers something in me that is so childish. Mm-hmm. That is literally like, what if I don't want to? Like, it's like that. It's that tone. Like, maybe I'm going to go out and play. And we'll do it after I go out and play. How do you feel about that? You know what I've been thinking about for the last 5 minutes is, like, that I have a very fluid ego.
Uh-huh.
It's fluid.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like, how so?
I don't know, but she said something where she's like, if everyone's ego is fluid, and I realized, like, mine is fluid. Uh-huh. It gets all over everything. Uh-huh. And it's toxic.
Oh, so you mean it's like, it's, okay.
Yeah,
I thought you
like
meant it kind of like
fluid sometimes.
ebbs and flows. Cause,
no, it does that too,
sure.
But it's definitely a flammable fluid. Like what did we just see? Didn't we just see a movie where there was a fluid problem? Oh yeah, we just watched Wages of Fear. Like, it's like nitroglycerin style. Like, if my ego was on a truck I was driving, I had to be very careful with the truck.
Yeah.
With the bumps.
Going 2 miles an hour through the jungle.
The podcast police.
Checking
in. Are you guys just doing a podcast? Yep, it's essential.
Yeah.
Essential. We're good.
It's essential and we're sanitary.
Look at the paperwork.
Yeah. Let's check those iTunes ratings. Let's see. Yeah, it checks out. Yeah.
This is the best show, and I'm WTF.
Only podcasts above a certain iTunes rating.
Yeah.
You're going to have to come over and we'll have to do another Mark and Tom. That's the future of WTF.
Oh, no.
It's going to be a series of Mark and Tom shows.
It's going to be these weird cries from a bunker people. Now, Lynn, do you feel like, isn't it weird when you think of like genre, like the directors that just do like genre things? They just be like the way it used to be, where they'd be like, yeah, now I'm doing this detective picture, and they like the idea to just shift from thing to thing.
Like Lumet.
Yeah, to just bounce from project to project, and it's just like
the journeyman.
Genre to genre, yeah.
Yeah. There's often still a thread. Like, I was just listening to Pete Berg, which I didn't think I would have anything in common with Pete Berg, so I sort of put off listening to his episode on WTF. And then I'm listening to him, I'm like, God, I'm like the girl version of this guy. Like, this is crazy. We have some things in common. I don't do certain things that he does, but I do some. But he was talked at the end, like, I don't box, I don't manhandle my camera operators. But I like to be, very, very efficient. I like to have a lot of momentum. I like loose, both in sort of improvisatory camera and also working with the actors. There's a lot of things that we overlap on, actually. But he talked about at the end of this podcast, he says, you know what I really just want to do? Just want to do a love story. Just a guy and a girl, on the beach somewhere. And he's like, I'm actually writing a script. And then he says, of course, there's also a military component to it. So it's classic. Yeah. It's like,
Wahlberg's the lead.
Yeah.
So there are certain things, that even when they try and break out of their genre,
sure,
it doesn't always.
Story of a guy and a girl and a tank. It's
exactly.
Just like he still can't shed.
How romantic is that?
Yeah.
That's my neighbor. I guess he's working. He works in the show business. Huh.
Worked.
Interesting.
He just came home and took basically his stuff out of his car, a briefcase.
Well, he might have an office, where he's just alone somewhere.
So, what are we going to do now? Is this it? My show is from my car. This is apparently my new reality.
Yeah.
Is me driving around with a Zoom recorder.
Why can't you still do it regular?
Because I need a dedicated studio that has like a phone system in it, and I was going into Forever Dog and using theirs, and then they're quarantined now. But
there must be, I was talking to Mark and encouraging him to figure out how to do phoners, and And he was saying, well, we don't have an ISDN line and a hard, and I understand all that. But there's got to be new ways.
Absolutely, there is. And we're going to nail some of those things down. Yeah. I don't know if
I've got an old Telos machine.
Yeah.
Like a rack Telos.
You have to plug that thing in. It'll be like, Independence Day. That's how you beat the virus, is the old technology.
I don't even know, dude, if I have an independent phone line.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure I do. I got to ask Spectrum what the number is. I don't, because I don't use it. I use the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, they're probably getting calls all the time of people just like trying to find out the basics.
What's my phone number?
Yeah, what's my phone number?
But because I don't have a phone in there. But the Telos doesn't. It's a big, complicated machine that I don't think you really need anymore because it doesn't change the quality of anything. It still sounds like a phone call. You can just plug it in with an XLR cable into a mixer.
Sure.
There's ways to get good quality audio remotely on the computer. Or you have the other person download a certain app or whatever, and then they can record it on their end. There's different ways, even if they're not.
I think I could do it if I did an interview where I'm looking at the person.
Uh-huh.
Like if we use the sound from a Skype conversation, we could both see each other.
Yeah.
Just some kind of bond that you share. It's not just
voices.
A phone line.
Yeah.
I wonder if we could do that.
Yeah.
There's got to be,
definitely. Even if you're using like Zoom or FaceTime or whatever for the audio, for the visual part of it, but then you're recording.
It's a matter of getting the audio out.
Yeah.
You know what's great is that right now people are hearing this and are screaming at it, saying like, "Why don't you know it's you go,
just got to get that one thing."
Yeah, and Brendan is one of the people screaming at it. He's
I don't
just
know
like,
if he knows how to put it. How do you put, how do I plug how do I make the guy talking on the one machine go through the other machine I have and back into the machine it came from to make a tape, to record it so I can hear it again?
He might be the smartest guy I've ever met, Brendan.
I know, it's wild.
Right? Isn't it crazy?
It's crazy.
I really think he's got to be top 3 smartest people.
About anything.
Yeah.
It's just, and he's always like right, no matter what the question is, whether it's about film, sports, politics, he's like, he answers it as if he'd already thought it through. Like he'd already been thinking about it.
All the research.
Yeah. He's the expert on it in any conversation, and I just end up listening to him, and it'll be a thing I brought up that I was ready to tell him about. So it's like, well, I guess you know a little bit more about it. You actually, and it's not like in a braggy or thing. It's like he just honestly has an intelligence.
We're talking about Marc Maron's producer,
Yeah.
Brendan McDonald.
Yeah, Brendan, who.
Right, you call him and you've got to tell him something, and then you end up going like, I didn't know that. Really? Oh, so I didn't. Yeah, I was wrong. I think. I've been doing that for a decade, dude. For a decade of me going like, oh, right. So that's right. I didn't really think it all the way through.
And I love that there are probably all these stand-ups who are just like, I just got to find a guy like that.
About Brendan. Oh, I know. Everyone all the time is like, where you get that guy? I'm like, there is
you
no
don't. There was one.
And you can't have mine. Sorry.
Yeah, just the whole, I wonder who has approached him like stand-ups. Like, I wonder if it just like, I just picture like Dane Cook or whatever, or whoever, just whatever.
What's
like name.
Maron's guy's name?
Yeah.
Who does Maron's
Yeah,
name?
exactly. I'll just poach him.
Yeah. People have offered him jobs, believe me.
Oh, I can only imagine the
But
people.
not stand-ups that I know of.
Yeah. But, he'll figure something out for you with this.
Yeah. Oh no, he's like, well, you know what's really helpful is that, and I don't, you're obviously putting, stuff together for guests and stuff, or we're both pretty good at picking up most of the information, but he'll know a lot about certain people that I don't know anything about, in terms of what they do. Like, the things that fascinate him that don't necessarily fascinate me, but I agree with him that it'd be a good guest. So for him to get me up to speed on them is always exciting.
Yeah. Like who's somebody that you remember him cluing
well, like
you
Rick
in.
Baker, the effects guy. Like, I think that's interesting, but Brendan was able to frame it for me like, this is an area of show business we never talk about.
Yeah.
That no one's thoroughly gotten into. He's done all this amazing work. Look at the arc, the arc of his career and everything he's done. And, contextualizing it like that, like this is totally fitting for our show because, you're talking to a creative guy who's important to movie, just putting it into context.
Well,
Yeah.
Stunt people too.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think you should continue. I mean, obviously I'm a film person, but I really do think that people love those behind the scene, those kinds of ones. I think you could talk to Roger Deakins. I think you could talk to, you've talked to rock photographers like this. It's the same thing. Like if you talk to actual amazing, award-winning, cinematographers, editors even, talk about what their job is.
Talk to people who were there.
That's why I was going to talk to Sonnenfeld too. Mm-hmm. I like doing those. Directors sort of are not easy to get, but that Ethan Russell guy, I just gravitated towards.
I was really hard to get.
No, you weren't.
I'm just kidding.
Like, wouldn't you,
You should see the book Ethan Russell sent me. I showed it to you.
Oh, yeah. No, the book's crazy.
About the tour.
It's amazing. Yeah.
You guys, before we veer too far off, I just have to give props to Brendan McDonald for not only being a great producer, but he is one of the best editors I've ever, having been a former editor myself, I really recognize and appreciate his unbelievable editing skills because he edits the shit out of those interviews. Mm-hmm. Always, even the really good ones that aren't, don't have to be sort of pieced together. But meticulous and so beautiful and making them flow and just, I mean, he's brilliant.
But the other thing I was going to say is that he, in terms of what you and I were talking about, is like back at Air America when I met him when he was 24, mm-hmm. I was just this kind of reactionary idiot, that he had to deal with. I was a radio host and I was like, hey, fuck Bush though, right? And we had to get into these nuances where he, as a producer, really had to put things into context for me and tell me, what the deeper thoughts around policy and all that stuff. So if there's ever a need for him to really lock in and produce like that, he can do it.
Yeah.
Like if we got important shit to do, like the president's coming, he's like, this is what we're doing. I'm like, I'm all ears, man.
Sure. Yeah. Well, you notice it's like the invisible hand. It's like you notice bad editing, but you don't notice good editing.
Oh no, yeah. Well, some people need more than others, and it's really about shaping and like he's able to find what his gift is in the process is that if he sees a theme or a through line, he'll craft it with what he has in to honor that more, which is like it's crazy.
Yeah.
And the thing that's what people the podcasts don't realize. Like you just get on and talk. Like there's some idiot who's like. Yeah, it doesn't. We don't need to go into specifics, but someone, a guest was complaining, and they're not happy. Yeah, and it's one, and it's crazy. But they're just sort of like they edited my thing, and it's like, yeah, we edited all of them. But there's some other idiot. It's like, oh, that's so wrong for a producer to edit a thing. I'm like, what's he talking about?
Yeah. What planet do you think you're on? Yeah. That things aren't edited?
Well, and some of them would not be, they wouldn't be listenable unless he edited them because they're so crazy and rambling and he makes people sound better, more intelligent, more articulate. That's really what he's doing. And
he works with what they've given us. So I'm not saying that people wouldn't be unlistenable, but it's certainly a nicer experience. Yeah. But the funny thing is a lot of them don't seem to know that it's been done. They're like, God, I really made sense that day, didn't I? Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, where'd that go? The next time they do one, it's like, why do I keep saying and like all the time? I really not putting my thoughts together like I did on that WTF episode.
The thing he doesn't like is removing old people's noises.
Like
there's like they just gurgle and things. There's things
waddle.
There's something going on.
Rattle.
There's a rattling. There's things that they're not aware of.
You get that tooth whistle.
And something, right? Those are tricky.
Yeah. Yeah. Does it drive? I always wonder if it drives him crazy that it doesn't seem like there's a place for sports on WTF. Like, because he's such a baseball fan and such a sports guy in some way that but that's just not you'd have to talk to a sports person who you don't have an affinity for that.
A few have come up and we've been able to deal with, I did Kareem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But there has to be a really sort of significant other angle to it.
Sure.
I'm just gonna be lost. I got nothing against them.
Well, no, but
it's no way for me to talk about that.
Yeah, but it's just what Kareem represents something so much larger than sports.
Yeah.
And just this, I mean, I feel like he's one of those people when he's gone, people will realize it's just like, oh, that was an all-time giant of a cultural force who informed the world in so many different ways.
Right. Yeah, that's true. But I'm like that with people like Jeff Tweedy's coming on. I'm like, I only really like the 2 records.
Uh-huh.
And there's and then I gotta like figure it out. Like figure out what's amazing about them, and then like kind of cram with musicians, like cram, and I'll cram, and like kind of like figure out where I'm going with everything. But usually it works out.
Yeah, it gets there.
Yeah. Did you listen to the Malcolm's record?
I didn't listen to it yet.
Do you care about them?
Yeah, I like him.
He's good. It's pretty good. Matt Sweeney plays on it a lot.
Okay.
But he's playing his newly lifted Modu Mokhtar Tarek riffs.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's like worst case thing if somebody's like, I didn't like that one. It's like there's 4,000 more of them. Just go pick a different. Like when people are, I don't know. I think sometimes it's me just projecting my own things on where it's just like. It's like nobody's complaining as much as I think they're complaining. Yeah. We're like, I got to do a new thing or they're going to be furious. It's like, they know I'm a person.
Yeah, but we invent that guy, Tom. It's like, that guy's lived in my head since I was a child.
Yeah.
It's like, here comes this guy.
Yeah. They're going to hate me.
Yeah. He stinks.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything he's done stinks. I don't know why he thinks he's good.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while, someone online or on the comment board will be that guy, and you're like, how'd he get out?
Yeah.
But that's what you should always think. It's like they just hit that one note, and you're like, oh, see? And out of everything you've done, all the hours and all the compliments, the one dude that hits your inner dialogue on the nose, you're like, see?
Oh, man.
See?
Whenever somebody can hit a bullseye,
it's the worst.
And it's like the thing is you can't let them know they hit the bullseye first of all, but it's just like you got me on that one. Like just at Home Alone, it's like, well, that was a direct hit. Right. I can never tell anybody why that was a direct hit, but congratulations on that. You almost want to say like, well,
good
you
job.
actually did it.
Yeah. I can't respond to him. Like there's certain people that are so in tune with what I do. You're one of them where you'll know in an interview where you're like, you didn't like that.
I immediately will text Brendan. I'll just be like, this is a good one. Mark's like, I could tell where Mark's head's at on this one. Like, I could tell where Mark started to look out the window a little bit. Like I can hear. And then Brendan will go, yup. And then he'll be like, well, get ready for this next one. He'll be like,
I'm glad you guys are having a good time.
Yeah. Well, he just because he knows I can hear it, that I'm hearing like the game within the game. Yeah. And I think maybe he's happy that somebody is like tracking the minutia.
Oh, dude, sometimes when like I'll tell him, sometimes I'm wrong and and it's better than I think, but sometimes like I just don't, like he knows. He knows when I had to work, where like I'm just digging a hole where there's probably no water,
Yeah, it's like you hear Conan would talk about, maybe, I don't know if this is a thing, but I remember just hearing, he would just be like, there's these certain guests, they come on and they're dead on every other talk show and they come on and then I'm like dancing and pulling everything out of them, and then they come off as fun, and then there's like, I only do that guy's show. It's like he gets punished for it. It's like, that's the show I do. It's like, so now I have to have this famous person on every 6 months, and it's like he's just exhausted by the end of the interview because they know they're terrible everywhere else.
He'll go the distance, Conan, to save a segment. That's for sure.
Yeah,
that was his gift. Was that what some people could do with just like one sort of instinctive comedic beat?
Yeah.
He'll go on a whole roller coaster ride for you.
He'll outwork it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. From a lot of different angles.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh.
All right.
We've been at it, man.
We have. Well, this is exciting. This is the beginning of the end.
How many of these have you done?
This is it. This is the first one.
Oh. Yeah, definitely. Cheers. This is standing.
Oh, I'm
going
to
to
put this together tonight.
And then
try to get it up tomorrow.
Oh, you just randomly put the best show up now?
This week, yeah. I said I would get one out this week.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't get it on Tuesday, but it'll go out. It'll hopefully go up tonight or tomorrow.
So you're going to go tinker with it now?
Yeah, I'll just upload it, clean it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Put some intros, outros on it.
Some music, you can have the music going underneath.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm gonna cut it to ribbons. It's gonna go down to 7 minutes. We've been out here 3.5 hours.
No, 3.5 hour count. It's like, edited by Brendan McDonald.
Send it to Brendan. Hey, can you do me a favor?
Nice and tidy. Get something out of this because I.
Take a pass on this one.
You got time in between homeschooling your kid.
Yeah, exactly. And dealing
with the WTF thing that Mark sent you. That's too long.
Oh, well, thank you, Lynn and Mark, for doing this.
I'm honored.
It.
Yeah, it was great, man.
And I hope,
anytime.
Yeah, we'll keep sane. Keep safe.
Yeah, safe and sane.
We will get through all of this.
So I'll just take the mic then?
You take the mic.
Are you turning it off?
Yeah, and then I'll...
All right. I don't need a wipe, do I?
No, I'm going to...
Oh, you're going to wipe what I touched, because I'm the monster. Yeah. I'm the monster now.
We take turns being the monster.
Here we go. I'm popping it off. 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 Go.